on the deuce or deuce of spades. And as Griff points out, on this occasion,
I actually don't
decision.
love a bet here for value with that many hands. I can't really call them very much. But he could be bluffing for sure.
And that evens things up somewhat. Still anyone's game here at 12-24. Probably the last hand of 12-24.
Twelve teams representing some of the biggest cities around the world. 72 of the world's most talented poker players with over $350 million in combined lifetime earnings will put everything on the line over 8 months to compete for the title of the first ever GPL World Champions. Which team has what it takes? The Global Poker League starts now.
Hello and welcome back to the Global Poker League this Thursday evening. I am Laura Cornelius and we are watching action from the Americas Conference, and it is all heads up. We've seen one match so far this evening and we have another two for you. We of course saw Farah Jacques, the manager of the San Francisco Rush, fight it out against João Bauer of the Sao Paulo Metropolitans, and unfortunately it did not go the way of San Francisco. João Bauer was able to win that one for Sao Paulo and take down 6 points for them, winning the games 2-1. The next match on this evening is going to be Jason Lavallee of the Montreal Nationals versus Anthony Zinno of the Las Vegas Moneymakers. It's coming up very, very soon in the next 5 minutes or so. So please do stay tuned for that. And then the third and final match of the evening is gonna be a cracker. It's the last one of this part of the series, and we are heading off to Las Vegas very soon next week for the first heat of the summer series, which is all going to be live and cross conference as well. But that last match today is going to be Olivier Bousquet of the LA Sunset versus Tom Marchese, the big cheese of the New York Rounders. Let's head over to Eric now for some all-important stats before the game.
And thank you, Laura. We continue to look at the, after one half of the season is complete, we continue to take a look at team scoring, this time obviously Montreal and Las Vegas. Let's start with the Montreal Nationals. Wouldn't you know it, 2014 main event champion Martin Jakobsen, the Swede, the only Swede on this team. Here he is leading the team in scoring, 22 points in six-max action, 3 points in heads-up play. So just a great start to the year for Jakobsen. We mentioned earlier, a little slow start the first week, but really has picked up the pace since then. So good on him picking up all those points for the team. It gets even better that Mike Timex McDonald, their first pick, that controversial first pick by the team, really panning out so far. McDonald, through 6 matches played, 24 six-max points. That's a fantastic average, if I should say so myself. We need then move on to the heads-up specialists. Pascal Lefrançois with 18 points so far in heads-up opportunities out of 3 matches. That's an average of 6 points per match played. Really a great start to the year for Lefrançois. Jason Lavallee, who's playing tonight, Laura, he shows up next through 4 matches, 2 of which have been heads-up, 3 points in 6-max action, and 15 points so far in heads-up competition. Really a great start to the year for Lavallee. Xuanlu, we only saw her that 1 week. Well, she fared very well, winning one of her matches. So through 2 matches, she has 8 points, all of them in 6-max competition. And wouldn't you know that the team manager's at the bottom here, and we'll see that happen in the next graph as well. But Marc-Andre Ladouceur through 3 matches, 1 point only in 6-max action and 3 points in heads-up action. He, of course, losing 2-1 to Olivier Bousquet earlier this year. I talked about the Moneymakers. Let's take a look at them. But you've got to understand, or you've got to get a feeling that this team did not anticipate Scott Ball being their top scorer at this point. And although that's been a great story, Ball's really performed very well so far this year. I think that the team will be disappointed to know that some of their top guns have just been at the bottom of the rankings, and that needs to change. That explains why they are in 6th place right now in the conference. Scott Ball sitting first, Jonathan Little has played very well in his 6 matches so far. 6 points in 6 max competition, 12 points in heads up. Anthony Zinno, the return of the Zinno man. After dominating the first week, he is back tonight. He's played really well in that first week of action, so expect more of that tonight from him. He lost to Tom Marchese 2-1 way back when. Jake Cody is next on the list through 3 matches, 5 points in 6 max, 3 in heads up. Jonathan Duhamel, this is a little bit of a disappointment here. Through 5 matches, only 4 points in 6 max competition, 3 points in heads up. And then Mr. Moneymaker only has 1 point so far this season, but he's only played that 1 match, so look for that to change in the second half of the year. And as he mentioned earlier, still not too worried, but getting worried are the Moneymakers. Laura, let's head on back to you.
Thank you very much. The stat man, Eric Danny. We are just preparing for that second match of the evening. Of course, Las Vegas Moneymakers, Anthony Zinno versus Jason Lavallee of the Montreal Nationals. This is top of the league versus bottom of the league. So Las Vegas really could do with the clean sweep, picking up 9 points. Just to remind you, each heads-up match is worth 3 points apiece. Even if one player wins the first 2 matches, they will play all 3. They are playing for points here. 9 points is the total. So yeah, Las Vegas are really looking to elevate themselves to make the playoffs. Just to remind you, the playoffs will be held in San Diego at TwitchCon. That will happen at the end of September, September 30th until October the 2nd. And we're going to see the introduction of the Cube, which is going to be very exciting. You guys will have the chance to win tickets to go all the way there. Come meet us and come watch it live, which will be an amazing experience. So do stay tuned to all of our coverage here, and you'll find out soon about that, I am sure. As we've got the Las Vegas Summer Series starting in just over a week. It's going to happen on June the 6th, the very first live match, very first conference match as well. So do stay tuned for all of that. But let's go first of all to this second match of heads up play. It's Anthony Zinno versus Jason Lavallee.
Thanks, Laura. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. We're here on the final day of the epic mini saga, known as the first 8 weeks of the Global Poker League. Great match coming up. The comedian himself, Jason Lavallee, a personal favorite of Sam and I's, against the incredibly successful, especially in the last year, Anthony Zinno, just winning everything and anything under the sun, especially in the sort of the U.S. poker scene.
Yeah, 2015, yeah. Zinno absolutely tore it out.
All coming up, Anthony.
I mean, a guy that has been on the scene for quite a while, but really came to prominence in 2015, putting up results again and again. WPT titles, 2 WPT titles back-to-back, an Omaha high roller victory at the WSOP, and a whole host of other scores. Yeah. A slew of scores.
A slew of results. Lavallee, on the other hand, someone who hasn't been as sort of on the tournament circuit as much lately, but a huge cash game pedigree. Yeah. But as you can see, almost $2.5 million in earnings. Someone who has finished second in an EPT before, someone who has won a high roller. And as you can see, those 2 wins, one of them, of course, being that EPT high roller, I believe in, was it Prague or London?
It was in London. In my town, 579K for that high roller victory. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, seasoned poker fans will know this, but for those newer to poker, it's not all about the big public tournament scores. Yeah. Jason Lavallee is someone that competes in
that has money in the bank.
Omaha games online. To beat the high-stakes Omaha games on the net requires an incredible amount of dedication and off-the-table work. He is a top poker mind, make no mistake about it. And he's proved that so far in the GPL with some really good performances.
And just moved to my hometown of Toronto with his beautiful girlfriend.
Mate, so life is good.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got a new dinner buddy. I'll be back soon, pal. Yeah, Lavallee, so much fun to watch. Hopefully he can show that dry sense of humor that we call him the comedian for.
Yeah, great character as well, Jason, on the webcam, sharing a lot of strategy as well. Going to have a very different approach to Anthony Zinno. We've really got a clash here between Jason Lavallee, someone that's really approaching things from a strong theoretical background.
Might even say game theory optimal.
Yeah, didn't want to say the initials
just
GTO, but it's there.
GTO is life, baby.
Yeah, and Anthony Zinno, someone that is most known for live tournament success. There you
Clicking
see
buttons.
5.8 million in tournament earnings. As we said, 3 WPT titles, absolutely amazing. Not small ones either, the Borgata Poker Open and the LA Poker Classic. And, you know, the WSOP bracelet as well, a 25K high roller, $25,000 buy-in, absolutely remarkable. Anthony Zinno, such a strong tournament background, but he, you'll remember we saw him against Tom Marchese way back in week 1. Someone that's going to do unorthodox things. Expect the unexpected, 4-betting, some unusual hands, clicking it, taking the initiative with unorthodox hands.
Field player stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of fun to watch. Cerebral.
Exactly. Someone that's like not got like marked down ranges. I do this with this hand. I do this with this portion of my range. Someone who's looking to sort of like the old school field player who's like, what specific hand does my opponent have and how do I play against this specific hand? So real clash of styles is going to be interesting to watch.
For sure. Poker trivia time, though. Who did Anthony Zinno finish second to at that LA Poker Open in 2013? Player in the GPL. I'll give you 3 guesses. Go.
Faraz Jaka.
No.
Laura Cornelius putting her hand in the air.
Not Laura Cornelius. No. 2 more guesses, quick.
I don't know.
Vanessa Selps.
We
know
boss.
you knew. Yes.
Haven't seen enough of Vanessa on the GPL.
Yeah.
One of the, like, hopefully in Vegas we'll get to see more of her.
You didn't even think of her though. Bit sexist.
Has she won? She hasn't won a WPT, has she?
I don't know, but she got second though.
Oh, she got second.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
Sure.
That makes sense.
But that was many years ago, and since then, obviously, someone who wasn't crazy all over the place in 2014, 2015.
Yeah,
blowing up.
Absolutely crushing. Made another WPT final recently in Amsterdam just over the last month. Zinno is a massive boss, crushing hard at the moment.
Yeah.
Heads up format, we saw him only registered 3 points against Tom Marchese, but it was a super exciting match. Zinno was streaming from his parents' bedroom, I think, visiting family. And someone that shared absolutely loads with us. Sorry, Laura Cornelius showing us something off screen. You're so
picture with Zinno with his shirt off. Weird.
So really a lot to play for.
Yes.
As Laura touched on, Moneymakers, they are struggling.
They need
you saw
Zinno.
there
They need Zinno,
on the player breakdown. Anthony Zinno hasn't played since the first week, and he's still their 3rd top point scorer. No one scored more than 18 points, and you've got players like Holtz and Busquet putting up 30-plus points in this league format. Zinno went #1 to Moneymakers. There is a lot on his shoulders.
For sure.
First-round draft picks need to deliver seriously in terms of points. Moneymakers need to get some momentum and get some momentum soon. Otherwise, they're going to be miles adrift.
And the other great thing about, they're not just playing for pride and for their country, their teammates, and for points. They're also playing for a chance to have an interview with Laura Cornelius. So Zinno is going to be trying hard to get at least 6 points to get that interaction. Laura loves a good interview with an old friend, and that should be good.
Yeah, two top lads in
top lads.
And I think sometimes we have matches and guys are a bit reticent on the camera.
Yep.
These two definitely going to be people that embrace the webcam format. Certainly we've seen that from Lavallee. Saw a little bit of it from Zinno. Two people with people speak very highly of both these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know Anthony Zinno, but
is it Zinno or Zinno? Can we confirm that? Is Zinno? Oh, Christ, sorry.
I think it is Zinno.
Yeah, perfect.
Zinno's Paradox.
Nice. Zinno was actually the name of one of the first ever Counter-Strike clans ever. XENO.
Wow.
That's serious
esports
Counter-Strike
trivia. We've got it here.
Esports
Not
trivia.
just poker knowledge, we got the esports knowledge.
It was bracket Zinno, XENO. I actually was on the team very briefly. It was a very big moment for me. Back in I was literally 16, 17 years old.
Back in 1987.
Yeah.
When you were just a mere youngster in the opium
You were
dens.
telling me 1987. That was 88. You were already in theater school, bruv. Which is crazy. You're telling me 7 years old in theater school.
52 years old, the George Clooney of the GPL.
Yeah. Where are we headed? Are we headed to the match? We headed to Laura?
You're the lead man. You tell me.
I'm not sure. Luis, where are we headed? There we are. Match time. Zinno, obviously.
Bit of film noir for us. The silhouettes of Anthony Zinno.
The Hitchcock fan over here is loving what's going on.
Either that or it's someone, I don't know, shadow puppets. Jason Lavallee, where we expect him, you can see in the background, that is an EPT High Roller trophy, ladies and gentlemen. You need to get through a pretty tough field to get yourself one of those for the mantelpiece.
You know I have one of those,
No, mate.
do,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Berlin, baby.
Mate, big one as well. You know, I had a percentage of Brahma and he pure bubbled that. I was fuming.
Oh, I saw it.
when I
saw
had
it
some
happen.
money.
Pulled 2
Yeah,
buttons in
it
a
was
row.
his ace king, right?
Yeah,
Against,
yeah.
was it
Ace
ace
queen, yeah.
River queen.
Yeah,
I
and he
think.
said,
I was there. I was on the
he
table.
said it was like, come jack high, and then the turn was a king. And everyone was railing. It was like, and walked off. And he's like, that's actually giving him more outs. Like
Yeah.
the king giving him the gut shot. Bit of
10
poker
on the
history
river.
for you guys.
Hashtag Broadway.
Big
Hashtag
shout out
RIP
to
grammar.
big shout out to Chris Brammer. Can't say his screen name on the air, but big shout out to him. I know he's a big GPL fan.
Yeah, and he's also a fan of bubbling big amounts of money. Condolences for your 10K finish, Brammer.
Yeah, back in the day, mate.
No, didn't he just finish?
Oh,
like
of
10? Yeah,
course.
is that too soon?
Yeah.
It is too soon.
No, it's okay.
Oh. Love me some N-Dog.
Here,
I
as we
think I'm all set.
here we go, Zinno. Tell
Can't
us,
see
bruv.
if the sunlight's blocking my.
So Lavallee 3-betting the deuce 4 and
All
getting
right, so
a
we have
piece of the board.
sevens, which is good.
You know what's actually so funny is Lavallee. It's funny that he's 3-betting the deuce 4 clubs because we'd become really good friends, and then in the high roller, I think I opened a hand like ace 10 suited or something, and then he 3-bet me. And maybe it was ace 10 off, and he 3-bet me, and I'm like, oh, I hope you're not just mucking about with me. And I fold, and he just showed me deuce 4 clubs.
Lavallee has to decide whether to check, try and show this hand down, or to fire again, putting pressure on hands like Zinno has,
Sorry
pocket
about the
sevens.
webcam, guys. I'll try to fix it as the match goes on.
Aren't loving
I-
facing another bet here.
Try to sit in some sunlight.
Problem for Lavallee is Zinno could have a hand like King Queen of Spades, Queen Jack of Spades. He certainly wouldn't be following. Lavallee firing again and firing big. Really, really pressurizing these medium strength hands of Anthony Zinno. Lavallee is the one who can have the aces, kings, and set of queens. Can obviously have turn a queen with ace queen.
King queen.
Yeah. Should he choose to?
It's a big bet.
And Zinno.
Wow, I'm loving
Back
Zinno,
card.
man.
And Lavallee
Like a
gets
boss.
a river where he might want to follow
Looks
through.
like we're going for it on the first end.
Lavallee
Look
with
at the way
a
he sizes
set
it.
blocker.
Look at how well he sizes it,
Yeah.
eh?
Mate,
Like a
Jason
boss.
Lavallee knows what's up. I wonder if he can size down on this river. And
Debating if I have enough showdown value to check and potentially
you obviously don't, Jason.
win against spades.
Don't wimp out,
No.
mate.
Problem is, them King X spades now have a heck of a lot more showdown value.
I don't think I do though.
Thank you, Jason. You know, mate. You got to empty the clip, bruv.
Yeah. And Zinno is going to have a take him to showdown spot and going to be incredibly difficult to call.
Jason Lavallee getting to the river with probably the bottom of his range. Players do like to fire, and he does fire all in. The silhouette of Anthony Zinno, we can't see his face, but
Almost
believe me,
yeah.
not loving it.
Almost unfortunate for Zinno, too, if he's someone who really takes a lot of stock in blockers. Obviously, he's a very good Omaha player, so I'm sure he's very aware of blockers and how they affect things. The 7 of spades, not a card he's happy that he has. It takes away hands like ace 7 of spades, 10 7 of spades, 8 7 of spades. Yeah,
we could carry
yeah,
on.
7
Jack
6 of spades, Jack 7 of
7 of 4
spades,
spades.
7 4 of
That's
spades,
the good
7
news.
3 of spades.
And
Spades
Zinno
for dades.
lays it down.
And this
Jason,
is why they call him the comedian. It's all a joke.
Jason
It is
Lavallee
all a joke.
rifling off 3 betting, deuce 4, firing 3 streets with bottom pair. He's come to play. And this is what makes the Montreal Nationals so
Yeah,
tough to play
agreed.
against. This is their wildcard pick. They have Mike McDonald. They have Martin Jakobsen. They have Pascal Lafrancois. All people that have posted incredible results in this early
Even Xuan Lu
stages.
has only played, 1 6-max matches, and she won one.
One of-
So
yeah,
got at
exactly.
least 7 points for the
Yeah.
team. I think she probably got 8 or 9 total that match.
Yeah, for sure. Xuan, definitely a strong player as
Great
well.
hand here. Great flop here for the really awful Queen 6 off. My least favorite hand. Far and away my least favorite.
We saw this actually a little bit. Zinno does like a little bit of a slow play.
What would you say is your least favorite hand, Max? Sam, sorry.
Jacks.
No, come on. Don't be a cliche.
No.
No right way to play him.
Mate, yeah, I'm not sure actually.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
I didn't realize it until like the last few days, but Queen 6, I just don't like the way it looks.
Ugly.
It's an ugly, ugly hand.
Unaesthetic.
Yeah, very, very, very not a good looking hand.
Maybe neither.
Great start here for Lavallee.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
And Zinno with a full house. Far's big on the river. 2 flush draws have missed, but Lavallee
As I play.
not blocking any pairs. Folds his ace high without a thought. If you're joining us late, you missed a real...
Zinno's game. I know he's a WPT Player of the Year. Maybe twice. I don't even know. No, he's mostly a live player, so I've seen some funky hand histories that he's played, so definitely going to be interesting to see some hands at Showdown.
The comedian being dry as always.
And Zinno flopping best here. Yeah, I was saying, if you missed earlier, we saw Zhao Bauer get 6 points for the Sao Paulo Mets. Only 3 points registered for the struggling San Francisco Rush. Zinno improves on the turn. Has Lavallee drawing dead. Lavallee pretty standardly floating with the 2 overcards and a diamond in his hand.
Definitely think I have to continue with some ace highs here, but ace 10 with the 10 of diamonds is not one of them.
Lavallee drawing dead there on the turn, getting away. Anthony Zinno with the ugliest hand in poker once again. Gah. Queen 6 off.
Maybe we should call it the Benja just to punish you.
Oh, please don't. Love me some King 7 or King 8 suited.
It would be ironic because you're one of the most aesthetically pleasing players in the game, my friend.
Oh, Sam. You're such a flirt.
We lose the guys temporarily. Zinno not defending the Jack 6.
Might just be card distribution. Oh, here comes the first 3-bet.
Zinno with Queen 4 suited. A lot of our players would flat this combo, but Zinno opting to 3-bet.
Do we believe him?
Giving Lavallee a decent price. A lot of players would pick 3x sizing at this stack depth. Only a shade under that, though. In fact, it is. In fact, what am I saying? It is 3x, exactly.
56 would be exact, no?
Yeah. And Lavallee, 4 bets. The King 6 off. I didn't see this coming and gets it
He just
done.
wanted to get to 69,000 chips.
First 3-bet's always a bluff.
Jason Lavallee showing some live
At
pro
least it wasn't like
tendencies of his own.
2007.
I'm laving me some Lavallee, aren't you?
Interesting. 3x for a change.
And how many times has Zinno flopped He's made trips decent amount in this match, running good, and picks a tiny bet sizing.
I've seen him do this a lot. It's really this imbalanced kind of when he flops super strong, just betting like 1/9 pot, just creates opportunities for even good players to start bluffing with turned equity, getting there when they were practically drawing dead. As you can see here, Lavallee has now turned an unfoldable hand when otherwise faced with a normal size C-bet would have probably folded the flop.
Interesting
this is what
size
Zinno
down
does.
on the flop. I'm not really sure what to make of it.
Yeah, very
we're
interesting.
definitely close to top of range, so we're not going to be folding turn.
Wow.
And that is one of the downsizes of sizing small.
Max Rabinovich here, backdoor Johnny's.
An amazing run out here. Zinno now with bottom full house. Had Lavallee drawing dead to this runner on the flop.
Let's say it's quads.
Semi-dead to this runner.
Does Zinno ever check back? Does he do it? I feel like Zinno's going to bet like something absurdly small here and bet fold like 3,600. We've seen some really, really small river value bets from him, really begging for calls, and it seems to have worked.
And he
does go big.
Go sizably. And Jason Lavallee, loving life.
We have to sit here and act like we're thinking about something, but all we're thinking about is, Vegas and the effing Mirage.
The comedian showing a little bit of swag.
Wow. That sucks.
Vomit cam ready.
I don't know if I can get away from this one.
Zinno immediately aware that his hand, despite having a full house, now in pretty ropey shape against Lavallee's value range, which is pretty much going to be a jack.
I don't know how he plays at all. It feels like it can't.
I mean, such a hard run out for Lavallee to bluff. 8-7s and ace, not ace-6, but 6-7,
Yeah,
let's
I
say,
can't see
get
folding,
counterfeited.
Even
So
though-
he does arrive at the river with some very weak holdings when the jack pairs.
Yeah, I can't feel it.
Zinno calls
I think we
it
got lucky.
off.
GG.
Let's see if I can fix this stuff.
Phlegmatic Jason Lavallee picking up 3 points. Montreal Nationals, strong start in the GPL continues.
The comedian, I'm just going to show this real quickly because I did promise Lavallee that I was going to purchase the comedian statue. Showed a little bit of his humor. The effing Mirage. Loving the comedian. There he is for all you Watchmen fans out there. Beautiful statue. Beautiful play from Lavallee. Obviously getting extremely fortunate in that final hand. But the 3-barrel bluff really indicating to us there that he is a top talent. And that's the wild card selection. That's like the 5th round,
and when we
6th
talk
round guy.
about range, that was a real, we bandy this word around for newer poker fans. The way that board ran out, the queen coming and then the king coming, both favorable cards for the 3-better. Lavallee is the one that's going to 3-bet ace queen, ace king, queens and kings and the like. So when those cards appear, he turned the 4 deuce into a bluff, doesn't play it passively, doesn't try and check bottom pair and steer it to showdown, realizes it's a weak holding against Zinno's range, applies maximum pressure. Actually, the deuce is a very useful card, blocking one of the sets, blocking one of Zinno's snap calls that he probably always plays like this. So Jason Lavallee fires the 3rd bullet, and it's so intimidating when you're up against a player who can pull the trigger down the streets like that.
Yeah, and it's also, it's keeping him in the hand. Like, there's still a lot of outs there for him to, he might still be ahead against a flush draw, which is almost always going to call again on the turn, whether it's a combination like 7-8 suited, 6-7 suited, Queen-Jack, Queen-10 suited that has now turned even more equity. So he might actually still be ahead with the deuce, and then and if he is behind, he can hit a deuce or a 4 on the river, keeps the betting lead, keeps the pressure on. That's why Jason Lavallee is such a special player, and that's why we call him the comedian, because his actual poker talent is just so freaking good, and nobody knows. So that's why he's the comedian.
Really, really good.
It's all a joke.
Jason Lavallee, so strong. Montreal Nationals.
Yeah.
We keep reiterating it. These guys
So
are
darn good.
top of the table. And, while we talk about the high variance formats, so much luck in individual matches in individual six-max matches. Overall, I think we are really seeing a table that represents the strongest franchises.
For sure. And Montreal really pulling ahead now. I mean, are they in the Century Club now? Just about almost, yeah? Coming into today? Wow. So I believe that they are now the first team to get to 100 points. Congratulations. They did it. It wasn't an easy thing to do. 8 weeks.
I mean, if Marc-Andre Ladouceur can pull his finger out and start putting in a shift for him, who knows what could happen, you know? Marc-Andre, come on, bruv. We need to see more from you.
Yeah, I mean, he really showed up when he played. I believe it was Olivier Bousquet. Did he play?
Yeah.
Yes, and losing 2 games to 1, but playing
of course,
phenomenally.
I'm just joking. Marc-Andre is obviously a top talent as well.
He played so well against Olivier. Yeah, it was great.
We're into the match.
Let's go, go,
We're
go.
getting a little bit of the Zinno profile.
Not going to be folding to this 3-bet. It's as good as a flop as we can expect.
Wow, 2 massive hands here pre-flop.
So going to be calling flop. If he didn't bet, I think I'd use the Queen of Spades as my randomizer to check back at some frequency.
If it's confusing you, obviously it really advanced poker talk there. Would
When
you
he
like to
bets,
explain what
it's
they
a lot
mean by
easier
the
on us.
randomizer?
Sure. As soon as this hand
sure.
gets down.
We have tens. Bet again.
Yeah. Zinno looking to get some value from 9x and protect against some overcard combos. Ace Jack of clubs, all spade draws are going to continue.
Because my dog's barking.
And he
So
definitely
consider
can
it.
get called by worse. Lavallee, though, has him in bad shape. You know, Zinno doesn't have a spade in his hand, doesn't, you know, block any of the Jack 10 of spades, Ace 10 of spade combinations that Lavallee would play this way.
Yeah, it'd be really bad news for Zinno if there isn't a spade on the river, because it might make him decide to sort of value block bet this river or check call, because there are so many misdraws, including you know, that have a lot of Queen of Spades in them. And I think that's what Lavallee is really referring to by the randomizer.
Yeah, for sure. So Jason needs to check back in position with some King X. So he's going to choose the King-Queen combo, which has a spade in it. And Zinno going for value on this
Like
river.
this. I mean, it's obviously pretty shitty when he has 9s or ace-king, but he could be going 3 streets with jacks or aces here.
Yeah. Very, very thin from Anthony Zinno.
It'd be kind of a tragedy if he has something like king-6 suited that he decided to 3-bet.
Yeah, so what's
Not value
Lavallee?
shove here. Getting tanked down.
And Lavallee indicating he is going to shove for value here with the flush draw missing. And bad news for Zinno.
We're happy. Unless he's knit rolling us.
Jason Lavallee indicating, of course, that a snap call would be very bad for him with his actual hand, would indicate an ace-king or a 9s full. Now that Zinno is taking his time, very unlikely that he has a better hand. And indeed, we can see, of course, Zinno does have pocket 10s. And I don't know what worse hands Zinno would bet for value on this river.
Since he didn't find it last time, I feel like he's not going to want to call it off, but it'd actually be a decent spot to be bluffing.
Zinno doesn't block any of the draws, but also doesn't block 9s full. Only one combo of King 10 suited that Lavallee could have. But likely he peels all offsuit King Jack, all offsuit King Queen.
All right, I'm gonna give him credit.
Small.
No, it's weird.
good fold from Zinno in the end.
Yes.
I just got to the 9-9 hand. I saw that he had ace-9, so it's pretty unfortunate. It's interesting that he sized down on the flop, something that I'll definitely want to...
And more bad news for
Wow.
MC Zinno, who finds a strong holding in ace-jack. Let's hope for Zeno's sake he just calls here. I think that is standard at 40 big blinds, but particularly when you've got position. But make no mistake about it, ace-jack, very, very strong holding heads up.
Yeah, I think Zinno is the type of player that's going to peel this 3-bet. But it looks like he's going to be 4-betting, and I really don't like this.
I'm just going to end up putting this in.
Looking to fold, which at this stage I imagine he's not.
And
Yeah.
Zinno calls off.
Jack.
A little bit impetuous, perhaps.
Yeah.
Jason Lavallee looking to lock up the second match in only a couple of hands.
Ace no 9. No ace no 9.
It's all a joke. It's all a joke.
Got him.
Two
One
pair
of
for
the
Zinno.
fastest
No
GPL
good.
heads up matches, I guess. Good game.
Zinno with a very unconvincing good game.
Rough start.
Jason Lavallee doing the business.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to note, Zinno obviously running into some pretty brutal coolers here. Of course, the 10s versus the king-queen, deciding to go for big value on the river, making the correct fold. Not sure necessarily big bet on the river is the right move there, but you can't really blame him too much. So did make the fold there. Obviously, in the previous match on the river in that last hand, maybe should find a fold with the 9s full because Lavallee, of course, has a tons of jacks in that spot. So maybe a mistake there. Extremely hard to fold there as well. And then deciding, it's one of those things, game flow and this sort of thing, it's just everything not going your way. You get 40 big blinds heads up with ace-jack. You feel like a guy's running you over. He's just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to 4-bet call this off for 40 bigs.
Yeah, I agree. I think a little bit... of,
Giving up is the wrong way to put it.
If the stacks,
but, yeah.
if the stacks sizes were the same and we reach 40 big blinds with them both having 50k, I think Zeno's going to call that a lot. But when you're getting a little bit frustrated, it's a little bit easier to go for the high variance option and not really think things through.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Can't blame
by
him.
the way, it's only a small mistake. Probably the 4-bet there is going to print money. Just when you call off, you're really, really a bad shape.
Yeah, and that's the problem too with the size that he decided to 4-bet. Like if he does kind of want to 4-bet there, it's you can't really 4-bet fold ace-jack. So
you really strengthen Jason's range. When you just call, you keep in all the hands you have absolutely crushed. The 4 deuce of clubs, for instance.
Yeah.
Sure, you do let him realize some equity.
Jack 6 suited.
But he's going to have some suited aces as well, perhaps, as his bluff combos. They can lose a lot of chips. You've got position. You can control the size of the pot, etc. When you 4-bet, you go up against the premium hands. And against them, ace-jack does not do well. So that's the only reason we're criticizing Zinno a little bit. But great news. We seem to say it daily for Montreal national fans.
Go Canada.
And Jason,
I'm not biased.
And Jason Lavallee,
Yeah.
Proving himself yet again, to be, the equal of some of these star names in the Montreal Nationals roster.
And then that's really the thing that we've been trying to say all league long is that this is a guy that's going to be almost underrepresented unless you and I big him up because no one really knows much about Lavallee.
Yeah.
People know the household names, Marc-Andre Ladouceur.
The guys who make their money in the online cash games don't have as much of the limelight
and are the best players in the world,
the tournament,
to be fair.
The tournament players like us, but they are, in many cases, the outstanding poker players on the planet. Jason Lavallee, one of those. So we go into the third match, and let's hope for Moneymakers fans.
And this is record time stuff.
Zinno
that first match, no more than 10 or 15 hands. This
Zinno
last one, no
needs
more
to
than 10.
just regroup and play this game. The other 2 matches don't matter at all. 3 points up for grabs.
And Lavallee, congratulations booking that interview with Laura Cornelius. Match. Laura Cornelius looking a little sad in the lounge. She was hoping for a Zinno interview. Bit of a schoolgirl crush over there in the lounge.
I'm curious to know what he had when I had the pocket 10.
So I want to be betting some ace highs here about the back door.
After that, I figured he was just going momentum, and had to go with the ace jack, I think.
Pretty poor river. Against Jack 8, I guess. Interesting that he doesn't decide to turn that into a bluff. The no equity bluff on the turn and then not bluffing very, very close to the bottom of his range on the river.
Lavallee perhaps indicating there's a few leaks in Zinno's game, the way Zinno constructs his ranges down the streets. And Lavallee going for some value with pocket eights.
Yeah, you know what? I think that a lot of the things Anthony Zinno does, he is a very, very incredibly in-tuned, good with game flow, has a lot of really good live tendencies, I think, that makes him so successful. Obviously, he's ran extremely well.
One we had previously C-bet on, we're going to size down.
But I think that Lavallee is just the type of guy that is going to expose Zinno in the sense that he is just one of the best sort of GTO kind of cash game players out there that is also willing to really think outside the box. So he's, I mean, I really think he's revealing himself to be one of the top talents in the league in this match right now.
Zinno, for instance, with a very loose float without a diamond in his hands, and where Lavallee can be betting a lot of dominating aces for value as well. In this case, it may work out because Lavallee, as he says, with facing a very unfavorable turn card, Queen Jack of diamonds, Ace Jack of diamonds, and those combos of hearts
on how he sizes
have outdrawn him.
I think if I'm only continuing at like jacks, queens, kings, ace, king here, I'm probably not continuing enough against this size. So I guess 8s, 9s, 10s without a diamond, I can probably peel one here. And the occasional ace, queen not blocking a diamond, I guess.
Really interesting bluff here by Anthony Zinno, but not going to work against Lavallee. Just too good, too aware.
Well, if Zinno fires again, he will get it done, but doesn't fire.
Interesting turn bet.
And Lavallee, I'll let you decode interesting turn bet there.
Yeah. Not flattering, the implications of interesting there.
And a turn card that might get Zinno in some trouble because both of them spike top pair. Lavallee, 80% of the equity in this pot. And Zinno outdraws Lavallee on the river.
Disaster here for the comedian.
A little bit of run good going Zinno's way, who's been on the wrong end of things so far in this contest. And Zinno
I have no idea what he's repping
leading out.
I mean, regardless of what he has, I don't think you should have a leading range here. It's definitely pretty interesting.
And
I'm going to call.
Lavallee calls.
It's
such a check raise, you think?
Definitely pretty interesting. I mean, I check back and I rep an ace on the turn. He blocks an ace and then leads into me when he hits 2 pair. It's very confusing to try to follow that logic. But
yeah. Jason certainly
exposing
would
people.
Value bet the ace queen himself.
And then face a check raise.
Yeah. So you get the bet and then free roll. Obviously, that's only one part of his range, but Zinno's check call, then lead. The thing is, it's so hard to have a bluff when you take that line.
Yeah.
Because most of your air balls or strong draws, you're going to lead on the turn or check raise the turn with. You can always check raise the river with them. I don't know. And Lavallee a little bit frustrated. But
I think he's pretty happy with the sort of the caliber of player he's playing. Again, let me just preface this by saying I think Anthony Zinno, what he's accomplished is incredible, and I think that he's an exceptional tournament player, especially in big field, maybe weaker field kind of. He obviously plays really well against recreational, maybe amateur players, but I really think that he's in for it really tough against a guy like Jason Lavallee.
And the other thing we should say is fair play to Jason Lavallee because it's not like this guy is a heads-up cash game specialist.
Right, yeah.
Jason Lavallee primarily, as I understand it, plays Omaha. That is his bread and butter. So really impressive that he immediately has made such good adjustments to No Limit Hold'em heads-up. You know, in general, the guys that play Omaha find it quite easy to transition back to Hold'em because they're so used to being attuned to ranges, being attuned tuned to blockers, the theoretical background which you need to succeed and thrive in the Omaha cash games.
Definitely.
And Lavallee going for value on this river. And Zinno with the king high. You presume he's not thinking about bluff catching, but just about whether he could check raise bluff. Lets it go.
Nice turn card here for Jason Lavallee, turning a wheel draw with the second nut flush draw. The old King Dewey, it's so spewy. And river's the nut flush.
I'll let him value bet a 10 or something like 6s here. And he checks down his jack deuce high. A trap failed. I feel so unsatisfied.
My God, I need more of him in my life. So glad I'm going home next week. Get to see him.
Some chance he big times you, Griff. I won't get your hopes up too much.
No, I think he has a soft spot. Just a little baby one.
Someone on Twitch called Nutter Gutter.
No way.
Yeah, loving that. Absolutely loving that,
Wow.
Nick.
Shout out Nutter Gutter.
French Dog saying that went all right. Seeing Lavallee's victory in the second match, and another good spot for Jason Lavallee. 97% of the equity in this pot on the flop, and Zinno firing out with the ace high.
Rational continuation bet here.
Should be check raising here. I think he's pretty likely to be suspicious. And it's a pretty coordinated board. It's going to be hard pressed to fold a king on multiple streets.
Zinno, not too talkative. Obviously, that's understandable when things aren't going your way. So hard to kind of be interacting with the fans. You know, these guys obviously so proud of their accomplishments in the game. Such competitive guys. And Zinno turns the nuts.
Hopefully he has something this hand.
And Lavallee,
But,
very incentivized to bluff with this combo. Most of these top players control their barreling frequencies based on the draws they turn. And here, with the king 8 high.
Okay, so no option here but to flat.
We can see this is not going to work.
With a deuce on the river or something. That's a really good card.
He snap called on the turn. It's pretty interesting.
What does
It's
that
actually
mean?
a pretty interesting river spot because I don't have a heart in my hand, and I feel like the hands that he snap calls with that aren't already a straight, which we block, are often 7x of hearts or queen x of hearts.
Oh my God.
And then he leads into me.
Sick.
I mean, he doesn't have 4 or 5 of hearts because he check called flop, so we're going to take the bait here.
Oh boy.
And we're going to try to get him to fold queen x of hearts, I guess.
Taking the bait. Lavallee.
And he got us.
Yep.
But we were blocking that hand.
Yeah, unfortunate turn of events.
Can't win them all.
Yeah. Completely understand why he did take the bait there. And listen, this is what makes Anthony Zinno so tough to play. Even some of the best players in the world get completely thrown off by his erratic play. And that was awesome to watch.
Yeah. Okay.
Big shove with the 9-8.
Yeah, not a good shove there for sure. Bit unnecessary. Never know what you're going to get with Anthony Zinno. So much fun to
Doubling
watch.
up Lavallee.
This is not what you want to do at
And
the affiliate
bad
level.
spot to double him up because
Yeah.
24K, 30 big blinds. Lavallee still in this. 3-1 chip lead, Fancy Zinno. Strong favourite to register 3 points here. But, you know, you really need to take advantage of having Lavallee down to a stack size where his strategic options are so limited. This is the longest match we've seen between these two guys.
Yeah.
Going into the 11 hand range. 11 hands, yeah.
Would have been easily a GPL record. What would have been probably about 30 total hands if the 9-8 had cracked the queens there.
They're getting it done in record time today. Just to remind you guys, we do have coming up later, if this match can be topped, we've probably got the lineup to do it. Marchese, Busquet, two of the most impressive players in this first half of the GPL. Their first contest was absolutely epic. Bluff after bluff. And really excited to see them in action today again. Lavallee employing a limping strategy and Zinno immediately attacking it with 7-9, which happens to be completely dominated on this occasion. Well, the advantage is to taking the betting lead, though, of course, is very hard for Lavallee to continue on this flop, for instance, particularly versus a pretty unconventional pot size bet. In general, you'll be wanting to pick a very small sizing on that texture. If you have a strong hand like aces or ace-king high, very hard to outdraw on 8-8-3. If you have an 8, you obviously want action and incentivized to pick a small sizing. Zinno, not someone that plays by the rules, so to speak.
He's a rule breaker.
Maybe a little bit of frustration still coursing through the reins of Ansi Zinno.
It's interesting, you know, obviously Zinno really represents kind of a lawbreaker. And when it comes to GTO and ICM, these kind of things.
He does not like limping.
And Lavallee, he's the law. Like he reps it, you know. He reps like the way you're supposed to play, but also just doing things out of the box. It's fun to watch the clash of two really contrasting styles. And so far, GTO wins. Fatality.
Zinno with 10-3 high, firing again, recognizing the king is a far superior card for his range than Jason's.
I'm going to make a pretty tight fold. I think when he had been sizing down on the flop, kind of had the read that he was a little bit stronger. Maybe trying to entice me to float or check raise, so going to go with tight fold.
Good read there based on the earlier hands, obviously. In this particular instance, Anthony Zinno did not have it. But Zinno, aware of what his bet sizings meant in other different spots, and that's what makes him so challenging to play against. Great flop here for the comedian.
And Zinno outdrawing Lavallee. And Zinno going to be aware that 4s and 7s is pretty strong here versus Lavallee's check back range, which is going to consist of a lot of ace high and king high. And he does bet out. And Lavallee gets there on the river.
Bingo, bango, bongo, I made it out of Congo.
And Zinno checks over to Jason.
Want to play the sizing guess game? Go quickly.
It's going to be small.
Guess, quickly. Pick a number.
2.1, but I think he will go bigger than that. Wow. I mean, what
Never
bluffs?
know what you don't get.
Don't think he's got many bluffs.
No, maybe that's why he just
But
decided.
by the way, you
To
know
get a 7 to
that
call.
was like the sizing I think it should be, but like he's just going for it against Zinno because he thinks
Yeah.
Zeno's going to make some mistakes. I presume.
You're loving a little Lavallee, eh? Great poker talent now.
Yeah, really, really top player. I mean, these Montreal Nationals, all of them are so, so good.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, I just really enjoy seeing the guys who are so strong on theory. You know, really helps my game. You know,
For sure.
I take a lot out
Yo,
of this.
you're still playing these days. Aspiring poker pro.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Mate, I'll flick in some spin and goes over the summer, you know, donk around. Why
Yeah,
not?
as long as they're free rolls. Sam Grafton loves some free roll sit and goes.
Love a little bit of a love.
Unibet to Shark Cage. He's in, mate.
Mate,
You
you're
want a
giving
personality?
Away, listen, reaching out to all the poker companies out there, if you're giving away money, you want someone to with no chance of winning the actual money, then I am your man.
Yeah.
Griff just rubbing me because I played the Unibets.
Bubbled it brutally.
Sit
Brutal
and go
fashion.
yesterday against.
Bad beat story for the fans or what?
No,
not
I
doing
won't
it.
expose them to that. Against a bunch of e-gaming heroes. Lavallee, perhaps picking up on the fact Zinno's pretty unbalanced with his limping range, thus far at least.
How many sort of poker TV shows have you been on?
Few.
Card
Yeah. Tell me some other ones.
Pretty unfortunate
All
when you're short.
Sky Poker
good
Cash
spot.
Game.
Okay.
Couple of
How'd you do
seasons.
that? How'd you do in that?
I won first season. I lost second season. Second season, tough lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that English guy who nearly won World Series of Poker Player of the Year? He was on Matt Ashton, coffin. Absolutely put me in a coffin.
Really?
Yeah, Rupert Elder was on it as well.
Oh, nice.
He was playing well.
Yeah.
The first one I played with Frushy, you know, James Empathy and Channing.
Yeah.
That was good fun.
Having
really
good fun, yeah.
Yeah, really good fun.
You'd have no problem getting into Poker Night in America as a white male. So that's
Yeah.
something to consider.
Yeah, something. It's great to know. Lavallee with a big draw. Zinno with the strongest holding. And Zinno binking on the turn. And
I would barrel a 5-6 over Jack 9 here. I just think that I block most of his. He hasn't. I think he probably overfolds flop, like some king highs. And I block most of the stuff that I want to fold, having a jack in my hand. So even though we have good equity, and that's usually a good time to double barrel, I'm not going to choose to bluff this hand.
so sophisticated. So sophisticated. Really.
You want to say it or should I? So sick.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's really interesting. And it shows the advantages of this more balanced approach because in this exact instance, you know, he was bang under it to win this pot. Zinno leading out.
Probably get yelled at by some of my friends for folding that, but the antes were bigger. Give him the business.
Zinno shoving in the Kevin into the suited Jack 4 of the comedian.
And this
Ooh, here
could be
we
the
go.
Gonna
moment.
be going in,
Yep.
especially since he was jamming 9-8 off at 12 bigs. So
It's actually 15 bigs, wasn't it?
get it in pretty good.
Big flop for Lavallee.
Suited.
Massive favorite despite still
Good
being a
stuff.
hide behind. And that is going to lock up a double for Lavallee.
Real frustration for Zinno. A flip away from collecting
From
3
really
points.
stealing 3
Back
points.
in it now.
Yeah, and
I mean,
as
all good
Zinno
though.
says, Lavallee
Points.
not out of this.
Not fair to say that he's stealing the points. I mean, he played that 8-10, pretty much the only way that would get Lavallee to punt it off. So, fair play to Anthony.
Tell you what, if Lavallee can pick up a hand to limp as a trap, though, he's going to get paid because Zinno is shoving very wide over limps. Lavallee does 3-bet.
Lavallee with the best hand here with the ace-7.
and will protect that best hand with a bet.
Look at Lavallee giggling and listening to the stream. You think that we said something funny or flattering? I think he's getting flattered right now. I think that's the flatter face.
No, no. What just happened is he just punted it off on the river. He just bluffed.
Oh,
Zinno,
yeah.
And that's what he's smirking about.
If you don't ever punt it off, drawing pretty dead, you're not trying hard enough. It's a direct quote from Jason Lavallee, the comedian, one of his many sets that he does on the road.
Lavallee not going to bite with this combo. Got so many draws that he can father turn with. Zinno feels ace-jack strong enough to bet for protection on the turn. Lavallee adjusting. I mean, maybe he'd fold the 3-5 anyway, but Zinno been targeting his limp so much. Doesn't want to limp in with trash hands.
Don't shove this, Zinno.
Lavallee going a little bit card dead and chipping down to 15 bigs. If you are joining us late, we've already seen Zhao Bauer win 2-1 against Faraz Jaka. 6 points secured for Sao Paulo Mets. They will head into the Vegas section of the season in the playoff spots.
And in the Century Club.
And Montreal Nationals.
Watching the replays, he isolated my limp with 7-9 off, so.
2-0 up here. 6 points already secured for the top of the table franchise. This limp, unlikely to get through. Zinno been showing a lot worse hands than this. Does have an ace and a hand that doesn't flop hugely well versus Lavallee's limping range. Zinno will be absolutely desperate to get something from this contest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So demoralizing to play for your franchise and not get a single point. Zinno trapping there with the King 10 suited. Pretty sure he was calling a jam and has let Lavallee spike a pair.
10-3 when he min-bet flop.
Zinno betting the King 10 to protect. And showing down the King 10, frustrated to lose to a lowly deuce.
Get there.
Oh, let it go, Lavallee. Ugh.
Zinno could definitely shove this combo, and he does. Really like this from Zinno. Plays pretty well versus Lavallee's calling range.
Well, this is going to be going in.
And Zinno may elect a min raise. No, limps in and not going to go.
Yeah, I felt that. That's okay though.
Be interested to see how Lavallee decides to play this. He opts to do the limp. Let's see if Zinno once again shoves. He does.
Zinno is
amazing.
Relentless.
Really, you know, not crazy about that shove. I get why, but I mean, Lavallee's going to trap a lot of better kings.
Well, we've seen a lot of the best players, how they construct their range. And
Yeah.
we know that they don't shove necessarily in that
the
spot.
King 5, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily have been aware how like what a suboptimal strategic option that is.
Interesting.
When I first started the season, we've learned a lot.
Yeah,
On the paired
sure.
board. Against my limping range with the 9 of spades. Didn't even think about it.
Which hand was you referring to just there, Sam? I missed that.
Zinno with the 3-5 does check, does flop best. But this is a board so favorable, excuse me, for
So
Jason's
this spot is
range.
interesting
He
because
may
he knows
go
I
on the
never
attack.
have,
Yeah.
an ace. So it's a bad spot to be out of position in, but we will be peeling one more.
And I was just going to say, Lavallee is going to win this hand in 8 turns.
Yeah. Zinno obviously shoving wider even than most players with these stack depths. Certainly has almost no aces in his range and very few strong jacks.
Well,
And forced to relinquish on a board that's just so favorable for his opponent's range. See, of course, Jason had bags of equity versus the 5 as well. This is going to be pretty close for Lavallee, but folds the Queen 4 suited in a heartbeat, so maybe I'm a little off there. Zinno certainly shoving wider than most in that spot, though.
Seven Dewey, he no spewy.
3-1 chip advantage for anti-Zinno, but remember, one double up would level this match up. Certainly, Lavallee would love the sweep. Would love to confirm.
And this should go in here.
he's a very good player.
And Lavallee
It's a
in a
bad,
dominating spot.
And flops the one outer.
Jack of clubs.
Backdoor full house, I guess.
No
Nice.
dice.
Huge brick on the turn. And Jason Lavallee is our chip leader. And understandable shove from anti-Zinno. I would say completely standard to play the King 8 in that manner. So unlucky to run into a pair which has him dominated. But Jason Lavallee now with parity in this match. The sweep very much alive. Lavallee continuing to limp.
And this would be a big mistake if Zinno takes the bait. This is exactly what we were talking about. Huge mistake here from Anthony Zinno.
He's absolutely dominated. Lavallee has got him. Zinno been shoving very, very wide. And he's going to need a 4, otherwise 9 points will be secured here. Bricks off.
Wow.
Good game, Jason.
So sick.
Good game, Anthony.
Jason Lavallee absolutely delighted.
Just disappears. Just whew,
Shallow.
and just like that, poof, he's gone. Poof, he's gone. The comedian gets the job done. 2 sweeps now in a row, right? For Lavallee? Didn't he sweep the last time, or was it 2-1?
Not sure.
Yeah, he did sweep because I said I would buy the statue if he swept. That's 2. That's 6 heads-up matches in a row for Lavallee. Gets lost in the shuffle.
Absolutely fantastic.
This is
thought
why
he
I
played,
got it.
Thought he played
he did it.
absolutely great there.
The comedian.
Obviously, perhaps against anti-Zinno in specific,
Good job,
the way he plays his ranges,
Blop.
perhaps could have got away from going
Yeah.
for the bluff versus that min bet. Perhaps could have taken even longer about deciphering what does anti-Zinno make
Yeah.
this min bet on the river with. Should I abort mission, even though a shove to me with the way I construct my ranges is completely standard here. Can I make an adjustment against anti-Zinno?
For sure.
But in the end, didn't matter. Kept his discipline, limp folding, sticking with his strategy, realizing that if Anthony Zinno is over shoving, that leak will exploit itself, because when I do have a good hand, I get paid unnecessarily. That happened with the King Jack.
Yeah.
You're not going to see Busquet shove the King 4
No
there.
way.
You're not going to see Pascal Lafrancois shove the King 4 there. They're going to check there because Zeno's over shoving. He picks up all those small pots, but then Lavallee, boom, he's gone.
Yeah, let me make something perfectly clear, because I think I'm going to be very disparaging against Zeno's game.
You don't need to say again that.
No, I really like Anthony Zinno, and I think that what he has accomplished and the way that he plays is really complementing the tournament U.S. circuits thing for
Crusher,
sure.
killer.
Lavallee is just endlessly better in a lot of ways than Anthony Zinno. In this kind of situation, in this kind of format, in a 6-max format, in a heads-up format against the best players in the world, Zinno got exposed today. There's no two ways about it. He outplayed him in almost every single situation. We did see a little glimpse of what makes Zinno so special, really messing with even the best players in the world with the really obscure snap, overbet, call, turn on with the 8-10, and then the min bet on the river. Like, I love it. I think it's so interesting.
Yeah, creative.
It's so abstract and creative and cerebral, but at the end of the day, a full sweep for the Montreal Nationals, and really, I think Zinno, the only person he can be mad at himself is himself, and Lavallee just showing what class. Amazing.
For sure.
Great stuff.
I think we're going over to the corn dog.
Yes, but I think we'll have a hand of the day for sure, or hand of the match, pardon me, because that was so much fun to watch, for sure. Laura?
Thank you, boys. Congratulations to Montreal Nationals. 106 points now. 9 points there for Jason Lavallee. Absolutely tremendous stuff. They are the only team in the Global Poker League now to have over 100 points. Congratulations to Marc-Andre Ladouceur, and of course, congratulations to Jason Lavallee, who is there on Skype. 5 matches you've played now, Jason. 27 points you have secured. What a great feeling, and over 100 points now for the Montreal Nationals.
Hey, I can't see you guys on my end, but yeah, it is a pretty cool feeling. It's nice to play some heads up and tangle with some good GPL players.
Talk us through some of this game, because obviously Anthony Zinno is quite the unconventional player. How tough is it to play someone like that when they're doing things that you don't expect them to do?
It's a lot easier when you get the run of cards that I did today. It's definitely like unconventional, and it's fun. It gets you thinking, gets you outside of the box instead of just trying to, play your, quote unquote A game of unexploitable approach, I guess.
You pulled off a 3-barrel bluff in the first game. I think you had 2-4. Talk us through your mindset a little bit with that. How do you know when you're able to pull this off?
I mean, I don't think I had the best hand in my range to do it with. That being said, I thought that, if I'm generalizing, I thought that he'd be continuing on the range with probably a little bit too wide, and I thought he'd be overfolding river. So that just made me more apt to fire 3 there. I didn't really see another option.
And how interesting is it to watch it back, to watch the hands back and see what Anthony did and analyze it all?
It's fun because it creates this little game flow bubble, right, where you see that he bluffed you in a certain situation, and then you can try to figure out if, especially Anthony, who's probably a little bit more, if I was playing Olivier in that situation, I think that he would just, use his specific hands that he would want to bluff with, but I feel like Anthony might be more apt to bluff more if a bluff went through, or to bluff less, and it's fun to think about those things. It brings me back to playing poker 8 years ago instead of now where it's just boring and you're just like, oh, I can't bluff with this combo, boo-hoo.
It's never boring.
I wish I could play with like Anthony did, just like, you don't think he has it, just put your chips in the middle. Who cares what you have?
Did you like Griffin's analogy of you playing the law? You were the law and Anthony was playing against the law.
I mean, that's a pretty good analogy. It's kind of surprising that it came from Griffin. I'm pretty sure he has a ghostwriter.
I think you're right. I think Sam probably told him to say that, to be honest. We've got Busquet and Marchese coming up next. What are your predictions for that match?
Oh, that's a toss-up for sure. 2 really good players going at it. I'm going to say Marchese's going to take it because he's really cool.
That's the only reason. It was 2-1 before, I think. Busquet beat him, so... We'll see if it gets equal. We're going to see in Vegas?
Yep, just for the main event.
We're not going to see you doing some stand-up or something?
I'm really busy with my comedian routines and the TV shows and all that stuff. But yeah, I'll be in Vegas. I'll make time.
That's what I meant. Like, we're going to see you do some stand-up in Vegas. We'll come watch you.
I don't know. Maybe
Go on.
maybe Mr. Alex Dreyfus can pay me enough money to do that.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see if we can get a deal for you or whatever.
Okay.
All right. Okay, great. We will check you out in Vegas. Congratulations once again on your clean sweep, the first one of this evening. Good job.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Jason Lavallee there for the Montreal Nationals, picking up 9 points for the Montreal Nationals, making it look real easy. Let's head over to the desk and check out one of those key hands they decided to pick.
Hard to choose, Sam. So many great hands from that match. One in particular by Anthony Zinno, but a heck of a lot more from Jason Lavallee over the course of those 3 matches. The sweep, second sweep in a row for Jason Lavallee, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Denny will message me on Skype right away if I'm incorrect on that. But it looks like 6 matches in a row won by Lavallee. And this hand in particular, very early on, just setting the frickin' tone. Let's check it out.
This is the deuce 4 of clubs.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah. Jason Lavallee. Deuce 4 clubs in the big blind. A lot of players pick a polarized strategy, 3-betting their strong hands and 3-betting low-suited connectors, taking the worst hands that they defend and turning them into bluffs because if their opponents peel with high cards, they connect with different sort of board. This hand not often dominated, given that Queen Deuce, Queen 4 and the like, King Deuce, King 4 are not in Zinno's peeling range too often. In this case, Zinno has him completely locked with the pocket 7s. So Lavallee, 9-5 deuce, has the stronger range. He's the one with the big overpairs, the jacks, queens, kings, and aces. Zinno not incentivized to slow play aces, kings, queens too often. So Lavallee bets out. He can get protection against overcards, folding a hand like Queen, Jack of Hearts. King, Queen of Hearts is really, really good for Jason in this spot with his particular holding. So that's why he bets. And Zinno calls. Now, Lavallee has a decision. He can check and try and steer this hand to showdown, perhaps check calling. Puts him in a very, very tough spot. Even against Zinno's flush draws, King 10 of spades, King Jack of spades, he's not in an enviable position. What he does is decide to turn his hand into a bluff, targeting hands like ace 5, hands like pocket 6s, putting pressure on 9-8, 9-7.
Hands like pocket 7s.
Yeah, I mean, also he's going to get immediate folds from ace jack of diamonds, ace 10 of diamonds, those overcards with strong equity against the deuce 4. Fars out again for big old sizing. Now let's give some Zinno some credit here.
Yeah,
he recognizes
great call on the turn.
With so many draws out there that he is going to have the best hand. One of the problems is this hand has very few ways to improve. And as you pointed out, Griff, does block some of those draws. Really good to not have a spade in your hand. Although we can see Jason Lavallee is taking a hand with a pair and turning it into a bluff, often he's going to have 7-8 of spades, 7-6 of spades. They're going to be immediate bluff candidates.
For sure.
Now, when this king comes off, Jason Lavallee decides it's time to unload the clip. Hand like pocket 10s is now a very measly bluff catcher. Hand like pocket 7s, exactly what Zinno has. Really, really bad shape on this run out. Jason Lavallee is the one that can have set of kings, set of queens. His bluffs are cut down because King Jack of spades, King 10 of spades, Ace King, and the like have all made a pair. So he's not going to need a bluff. He won't necessarily value bet, but he's definitely not going to need a bluff when he has a King X of spades. Ace X of spades, he may elect to check on the flop. So he now has very few bluffs and has way the bottom of his range. The deuce, as I said, is useful in this instance, blocking pocket deuces, which is going to be one of Zinno's snap calls on this river. And he fars the river, targeting really this exact type of hand. Obviously, on occasion, Zinno could have King, Queen of spades, and this doesn't work. Yeah. But against the hand Zinno has, putting a huge amount of pressure on him, Zinno really, really cannot continue. And, as I said, this is what we talk about when we talk about players playing not just their hand, but their range. The
sure.
king, queen run out, those two overcards, so much better for Lavallee's range than they are for Zinno. And Lavallee exploiting that by firing off, even though he has a pair.
And there is the comedian smoking his Molotov cocktail cigarette. Loving it. Little Lavallee. Really proud of Jason. Played amazingly. Really showed everyone why he was selected as the wild card for the Montreal Nationals. That team is freaking dangerous. What is it, 106 points now? Just running away with that America's Conference.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough
and really
for
bad
else.
for them because, also for the Moneymakers, because they are bottom of the table going into the Vegas section. Now, one of the things we have called them is the LOL Las Vegas Live Pros. Let's hope that it plays into their hands.
Definitely.
You know, because we are entering the live portion of the series. Jonathan Duhamel, Jake Cody, incredible. Anzi Zinno, incredible records in the live arena. They're going to need to make an impact in Vegas. Otherwise, they are not going to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. Bousquet coming up against the Big Cheese. Laura, tell us about the standings.
Send it over to LC.
Thanks so much, GB and SG. GB and SG? Yeah, I got that right. LC in the house and ready to check out the standings. We know the Montreal Nationals are on top. We know Las Vegas Moneymakers are on the bottom. 106 points, we've mentioned it already. They are the first team in the Global Poker League to reach over 100 points now. Jason Lavallee doing a fantastic job there. Clean sweeping, winning 9 points for Marc-Andre Ladouceur's side. LA Sunset are in second with 89 points, but Bousquet will play next. And of course, if he clean sweeps that, he will add 9 points to LA Sunset's total, which means though he will not reach the Montreal Nationals. LA Sunset will stay in second place if he does clean sweep. New York Rounders are just 5 points behind LA Sunset, so there is the potential for those two to move around a little bit after this next match. Sao Paulo Mets with 82 points. They're just 2 points behind New York. San Francisco with 69 points, and Las Vegas, as we mentioned it, with 65 points. No points for them today, unfortunately. I know Anthony Zinno will be a little bit disappointed with that, but we spoke to Chris Moneymaker, the manager, earlier, and he's felt confident heading into Las Vegas. Obviously, we're going into live action, and all of his players are live players, so they are hoping to definitely hook some points up there and be able to make the playoffs, but they have a lot of work to do, it has to be said. Right, that next match then, Tom Marchese, the Big Cheese New York Rounders versus LA Sunset. Olivier Bousquet is back. I think we've seen him more times than any other player in this heads-up format, but you know what? If it ain't broken, you don't have to fix it. So exactly that is Maria Ho's thinking, I think, with putting Olivier Bousquet in every single heads-up match on a Thursday here. And we saw some great bluffs from these two the last time they faced off against each other. Bousquet obviously winning it 2-1 that time, so we'll see if Marchese can do it for the New York Rounders today. Bring it back here at midnight, Central European time, midnight, that match kicks off. So it is just over an hour to go, and we will be back here. So please do join us for that last match of the day.